going to proceed here, and welcome to Unity of Little Rock. I'm so glad that you're here today. I'm Travis Wiley, and we're giving Jeannie a break on her birthday weekend. She's not getting a full break like she did last weekend for Mother's Day from Beverly. She is going to be our prayer chaplain today. So to help me, let's join in by saying our opening statement here. There is only one presence, one power active in my life and in the universe. God the good, the omnipotent. But at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Jeannie and let her come up and do our prayer. So,
all right. Let's get settled, and as we prepare to go into prayer, we carve out a space and time for prayer. We practice a rhythm that is natural to us, that rhythm of the breath. In and out, in and out. That ebb and flow of the life force within us, that steady rhythm of the universe is our assurance of the ever-present God. God is everywhere present, in everything. And we are one with this rhythm, and we are one with the divinity. In prayer. After every out breath, I breathe in again. But without hurry or struggle, and not even shallowly, I slip into that rhythm of universal peace, where my concerns are cushioned in divine harmony. I am one with the God of peace and harmony. May I recognize the order within that ebb and flow of life. Just feel it. Feel the breath. Feel the life force. And when I'm challenged, I attune to the rhythm of life, and I learn of the steady guidance within. One with God in order and wisdom. God is order and wisdom. I am order and wisdom. Knowing that my mind is one with divine mind, I stand strong and steady in periods of discord or disease or disillusionment. These are temporary conditions. They do not define or limit me. Instead, I stand strong in my knowledge of my great nature that is one with God. I pray in love for all beings. May all beings know the blessings of life. May all beings thrive in this rhythm of life, into that exquisite dance of harmony that really does underlie all things. We hear the discord sometimes, but we can return to the harmony. May we bless one another by seeing the value and the goodness within all beings. Oh, do I appreciate this community. I appreciate this community, this time of prayer, knowing unity principles, living my life in such a full and wholehearted way. We are in the flow, we are in the ebb of life, and so it is. Amen.
Amen. So our statement of being, let's say this together. I am an individualized expression of God. I am ever one with this perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. This was the song, Turn, Turn, Turn by the Byrds. How many of y'all remember that song, Turn, Turn, Turn by the Byrds? Well, I chose that song because, we're going to talk today about turning points in life.
Oh.
And turn, 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 turn. And I think it's kind of coincidental that this happens on your birthday weekend.
Yeah.
It's not what I had in mind at all.
Yeah.
But, I got to thinking about this idea of turning points in life and how we all go through these turning points in life. And you know, part of my work over the last couple of years has been doing some biography work. And I don't know if y'all have ever done biography work, but that's where you actually go into your past and you really look closely at, the events that happened. You're trying to find the deeper meaning and understanding to why things happen to you when they happen to you. And part of that biography work, I noticed that, certain things happen in certain months. Have you ever paid attention to see, when do things happen in my life? Is there a certain month of the year when good things have happened for you? And is there a certain month of the year when bad things seem to have happened? Well, May happens to be one of those months when, for better or for worse, I have had a lot of my major turning points in life have occurred during the month of May. For example, my practice in England turned 16 this month. It's been 16 years since I opened that practice down there. That just seems unbelievable. Some major turning points in my life have occurred in May. And as you can see, some of these turning points, they may be pleasurable. Some of them may be happy and cause, pleasurable sensations and feelings. Some of them not so happy. But either way, no matter how I perceive them, or no matter how I judge them today, looking back, I may judge them as good or bad. What I realize, especially so today, and most profoundly, is that at every turn in my life, every one of these turning points in my life required me to do something different, to be something different, to learn something different or new, or to learn a new skill, or to gain a new talent, or to gain a different perspective. With each turning point in my life has also come a requisite change of attitude. For better or for worse, every turning point in our life requires a change of attitude. Now, the important turning points in my life have not occurred just in the month of May. Certainly, January is another month. It's been a lot of stuff has happened for me in January. Hey, Betty. My mom died in January. That's a major turning point when you lose a parent. That's a turning point in your life. Everything shifts. I was married into January. That's another turning point in life. So when you get married or divorced, that's a major turning point in life. And that occurred in January. Another big turning point for me was, my only hospitalization was in a January. The only time I've ever, not counting childhood, being an infant and all that, but in my adulthood was in a January that I ended up with acute diverticulitis and had to have emergency surgery. And those good guardian angels of January were watching over me because it all came through nice and fine. And another major turning point for my life that occurred in January was when I stopped drinking. I actually hit a bottom with my alcoholism in a January, and so that's been many years ago. But my dad, he died in April. That was another major turning point in my life. My children were born, one in February and one in March. And certainly there is no bigger, one of the major turning points in our lives than when our children are born. So important, turns in life, these turning points in life can occur at any time. But again, in my case, there's been a big collection of these around the month of May. But I haven't even told you about the biggest turning point that's happening for me this month. I'm turning 65 years old. Whoa, I'm turning 65 years old. Now, I know Jeannie just had her big 7-0. And Jeannie and maybe some of the others around here, maybe not, but some of y'all might be looking at me and saying, Travis, 65 years old, we don't even want to hear about it. Just keep quiet. And I get that. And to someone, that's 80, they're saying, 65 is young. And yes, I think I am still young. And at the same time, I am turning 65 years old. Now, this has been hard for me. I think for the most part, I've handled this, getting older a bit pretty well. But it's been hard for me. And, I really am surprised by it. I thought I was going to be ready for this aging process because, one of the things I've had the opportunity to do my entire life is to have this relationship with elderly people. I was only 24 years old when I opened my first practice. Now, as a chiropractor, chiropractors, we take care of aging bodies. A lot of elderly people, go see chiropractors for their aches and pains and such as that. So I can remember being in my 20s, and I was thinking about this, preparing this lesson, that I actually practiced for 5 years while I was in my 20s. That's just unimaginable to me to think about, looking back at, and I was 26 years old. And, well, when you're 26 years old and then someone my age today, 65, was coming to see me, oh my God, they were so old, and I had this whole perception. But by the time I got into my 30s, what I really came to appreciate is that, I had the opportunity to work with individuals for many years. I mean, I still have patients today that I used to take care of 30 years ago in North Little Rock. They come to England to see me for their chiropractic care. Well, these are individuals that I've got to experience them and be with them over these years that I've seen. I've aged and they've aged. And so, I've gone through many, I've had so many special relationships with men and women. I've got a great handful of patients right now that I'm caring for who've been coming to see me for 15 or 16 years that I've been in England. And they're getting elderly, getting in their 80s, late 80s now, and seeing them go through that transition in life. So, I thought I was kind of ready for this, but I realized I'm really not. And as I've been approaching this, as I've been going up to this, I've really had to just deal with all the weeds growing up in the meadow of my mind. I couldn't do the animation here, but that's kind of how I look at my thoughts. When I apply unity principles to my thinking, I think about my mind being like a meadow with all these beautiful flowers and these beautiful plants growing, the things, this prosperity and abundance and perfect health and life and love and connection. I see all these beautiful things growing, but then, wait a minute, what's this Johnson grass doing over here growing? Johnson grass, you're getting old, you're going to get sick and things are going to start breaking down. And so I have really had to be diligent to really cultivate my mind and to pluck out those weeds of negativity, those weeds of negative thought. And it's almost as if it's a conspiracy because, several months ago, I started getting mail. I mean, every single day, multiple pieces of mail reminding me, you're turning 65, you're getting old, you're going to have to go on Medicare. Well, I'm one of these kind of people. Two things I never think about. I never think about how much I weigh, and I never think about how old I am. I just don't worry about those things. And now, all of a sudden, I've got these daily reminders of how old I am. In fact, it concerned me so much, I even did a video, put it on my YouTube channel. Go check it out. Getting on Medicare in 2022, facing reality, where I kind of tongue-in-cheek joke about, getting all this stuff and it literally, y'all, this is embarrassing in a way to admit, I was getting all of this mail, and right before I did this video, because why do I keep getting all of this mail? And no kidding, and then boom, because I'm about to turn 65. I mean, that's how little I even thought about my age. I didn't even consider my age. But I'm turning 65. Well, it makes me think, let me back up on that. I did the video about it. It reminded me, the reason that's concerning to me, because, and y'all know this, we're unitics, and we understand how the law of mind action works, and we understand that thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. And I found myself with all of these thoughts, I'm getting older. Well, maybe that's why I feel a little tired today. Maybe that's why I'm noticing a little achiness here. I am getting older. And just this, and one other thing about being around aging patients, and, I've seen some of the bad things that can happen with us as we get older. I've had some firsthand experience with that. So all of these negative thoughts going through my mind. Every major turn in my life, every major turning point in my life has also brought with it a change of destiny or a change of direction. because those moments are very important. You know, and I understood this. You know, when my son was born, you know, or my daughter, I understood the significance of that turning point in life. You know, you get married, you understand the significance of that turning point. You know, you get divorced. All of these things happen. It makes me think about the quote by Deepak Chopra. And this was in one of his very earliest books. It was a quote that he gave in an Indian proverb that translates roughly says, the reason we grow old and die is because we watch other people grow old and die. Now that's a Sanskrit proverb, according to Deepak Chopra. The reason we grow old and die is because we watch other people grow old and die. Now, you know, think about that. And when he says that, because, you know, there are civilizations in the world where people regularly live to be in their hundreds. They're working, they're active, they're vital. Because the people living in those countries, the people they watch growing old, are people who are growing old in a healthy way, in a fit way, in an active way, in a way that contributes to society, in a society where they are honored and revered, and they are welcomed, and they're for the resource that they are. Mm-hmm. As opposed to this country. What kind of messages do we give in this country, or do we get in this country about getting older? It's just like getting on Medicare. It's like, you know, all of a sudden you reach a certain age and everything changes. It's this whole idea of getting older. So all of these events, whether it's turning 65, even turning 70, having babies, getting married, getting divorced, illnesses, deaths, all of these things, whatever we're experiencing, these destiny-changing events are so much more than just a change in our physical environment, than in our physical circumstances. You know, for many years, I thought that's all it meant. You know, I got divorced. Yeah, I knew it was important. She's moved out, took most of the furniture with her. I'm here alone and starting over. You know, and you know, when my child was born, it's like I can remember holding my son minutes after he was born, and the thought, you know, sunk, my life is never going to be the same. I knew it was going to be different. And if you've had children, you've experienced that once you have a child. But it's so much more than just that material change. Oh, I've got a new body I've got to take care of. No. The reason these events are so life-changing, the reason they are turning points, and we name them as turning points, is because they're not just physical turning points, they are also spiritual turning points. And I didn't realize that then. I used to think that whatever was happening to me was just in this outer world, and I'm reacting to it. It's coming upon me, and I'm trying to cope with it and deal with it the best I can. But these destiny-changing events, whether you perceive them as pleasurable and enjoyable, as something you like, or whether you perceive it as something painful or as something mournful, these events are in reality spiritual terms, and if we do not realize it, if we don't realize it at the time we're going through it, or at least if we don't realize it in retrospect, then we miss the opportunity to experience something. To experience. That's all I'm saying. We miss the opportunity to experience. Not a lesson learned. No, it's not about lessons learned. It's about experiencing something. What am I supposed to experience in this moment? In order to have an experience, I have to be present. I have to slow down enough to really pay attention to what's happening in this moment. Mm-hmm. And it is in that experience of that moment that we expand. And it is in that expansion of fully experiencing the moment of whatever we're going through, we become something different. We develop into someone different, yet the same, only more so. in one of our NBC meetings. David was leading us in a little group meditation that we usually start off with. And he used words that, in the middle of my meditation just brought me like, huh? He said, relax and expand. Jeannie remembers this.
I do.
I got to tell you what. I thought, what in the world? Relax and to me, relax is to contract. Relax. Expansion, to me, that's not relaxation, that's work.
Yeah,
I gotta push, I gotta act, expansion means I'm expanding my business, I'm expanding my property, I'm expanding my garden, I'm expanding my knowledge, I'm learning, I'm going to school, I'm expanding. There's no relaxation in expansion. It caught me. And we talked about it, and I've come to realize that was a turning point in my life because it has completely changed some perspectives for me. This thought is helping me. What I realized, turning 65 or turning 70 or turning any turning point of life that we're dealing with, we're really just going through an experience. It may be a painful experience, life's full of painful experiences, so we know we're not going to escape those, I hope. I think we all know that by now. But it's just an experience, and all I'm really doing is I'm having thoughts about my experience. And it is those thoughts about my experience that is making it real. The only reason that experience is real is because my thoughts are making it real. The thoughts that I'm holding about that experience. My thoughts create the reality I experience. The only reason I have trouble with the experience I'm currently in is because of my resistance to that experience. I'm resisting that experience. But you see, I have another choice. Instead of resistance, I can choose to relax and expand. Relax and expand into the experience. And as I do, I feel a greater sense of inner peace, a greater sense of inner calmness. And when I get that inner calmness and peace, then I can listen to that still, small voice of spirit that is always trying to guide us through the experiences of our lives. But I must be able to be present in that experience. Now, in the past when I was younger, and I imagine some of y'all might have been the same, when we're younger, we're trying to make things happen. My golly, my will is I'm going to carve my path out in this world and make things happen. So if I was going through a divorce or, it was my resistance. It was so great that I never even heard the small voice of spirit. I never even looked for it. And as I've been processing these thoughts about growing older and in the manifold ways it's been sneaking into my consciousness and coming into my mind, as I've been dealing with myself. Have you ever had to deal with yourself? Have you ever made yourself? I've been to a point where I've just been about sick of myself. It's like, stop thinking that. My gosh. So as I've been dealing with myself, I've been asking for clarity. I've been seeking clarity. And I actually got it, of all places, you're not going to believe it, yesterday at Jeannie's birthday party. I had two conversations. The first one, he's not here today, but I had a conversation with Dave. And we were talking, and his birthday again. And I just said, well, how old are you, Dave? And I didn't know how old Dave was. And you know what? He wouldn't tell me. He said, I don't discuss my age. I don't talk about my age. He said, because to me, it's just an illusion. It's nothing real about it. So I don't even want to. And I appreciated that so much. It was exactly what I needed to hear. As I said earlier, I've never thought about how old I am. It's like something I think about, oh, God, I'm 64, aren't I? Okay, but I don't think about it. But all of a sudden, the fact that I'm turning 65 is like this big event in my mind, and I'm blowing it up. So you know what? I kind of regret, Dave, I'm sorry. I'd already planned this lesson. I was already working on this lesson. It was too late for me to change it at this point. But I almost regret that I'm talking about this today. except that it's going to help us all to get moved past it. But after today, I am going to stop referring to my age anymore, okay? I'm just going to forget about it. And I thought, what would it be like? What would it be like? Imagine if we had a life, had a society, had a civilization where instead of we throw these big, beautiful parties, which was absolutely wonderful, but what if we just kind of like you were born and then you had a birthday, oh yeah, you were born then, and then you just never thought about it again. And you didn't know how old people were. What would it be like if we didn't really know how old people were? It'd kind of be interesting, So that helped me. And then the other conversation I had was actually with you, Betty. Talking to Betty. And Betty and I, we share something in common in that we're both in the healthcare field. She's dealing with clients and I'm dealing with patients. And talking to her, and she was sharing with me kind of what practice is like for her today. And as she is sharing that, I'm realizing that's exactly what I'm feeling. And I realize it's not because I'm getting older, it's because we've been doing what we do for a really long time. And what I've been experiencing with my practice and in my career, it's not because I'm getting older and I don't care, it's just because I've been doing what I do longer, and it's harder because we see the work that needs to be done. There is so much work that needs to be done in the mental health care field, and certainly in the physical field, in the natural health care field where I do my work. Taking care of sick people takes a lot of energy. And so, Betty, thank you. Sharing your experience with me gave me some clarification and helped me realize that a lot of what I was thinking of as being, I'm getting older, I'm getting less capable of doing my job. What I realize now, no, I'm actually more capable. I am more capable of doing my job today. It just doesn't look like it did when I was 35 years old. And I was trying to build a big, huge practice, and I wanted to really get all the patients in there I could. It's different from that. But just because it's different doesn't mean it's less valuable. In fact, it's more valuable. I believe what I offer today to my clients, and I bet Betty might agree with this, what we offer today is more valuable than what we would have offered 30 years ago. Absolutely. So I thank you for that. So, as often happens in my life, the voice of Spirit speaks through human beings. And yesterday it spoke through two beautiful human beings, Dave and Betty. And I love it. So you see the key to dealing with these turning points. And as I was working on this, and really just the key to dealing with these turning points is simply to be present to the experience.
That's it.
To be present to the experience to the degree where you can listen and hear the voice of Spirit speaking. And in so doing, you experience the experience fully. And in doing that, you metamorphosis. You have a metamorphosis of your spiritual nature. And maybe a physical nature. And when things metamorphosize in the spiritual realms, get ready because something's changing on the physical realms. Absolutely.
Well, you relax and expand.
And so, as I got to thinking about that thought, well, okay. So if it's important during these big turning points in life that we stay present and stay conscious and stay in the moment and be with the experience, wouldn't that be important for every moment in life? So, by the time I got to the end of this talk, I realized the very idea that there are big turning points in life, it's just a made-up construct in my mind. It's me giving a judgment of some points in time are more important than other points in time. When in reality, every point in time has the potential to be a turning point if it causes me to change my destiny, a life change, an attitude change, to learn something new. It all comes full circle. To deal with the turning points in life is the same as for dealing with any point in life. Relax and expand into the present moment. Slow down the chatter of the monkey mind and be present to what is in this moment. Got the daily word a little bit out of order today. Some of you may have been noticing earlier, he didn't do the daily word today. Well, that's because the daily word just fit really well with my lesson. And I think this might be a good ending. We don't have music, but we've got the daily word today. It's freedom. And I love this. And if you've read it already today, forgive me, but it says freedom is, it says taking responsibility for my life leads me to freedom. Each life has its share of ups and downs, turning points in life. Like most people, I have felt blessed by my happy experiences and laid low by my more difficult ones. I have used the spiritual tools of forgiveness and gratitude, which I didn't even talk about in my talk, but absolutely, forgiveness and gratitude, to learn from and move beyond my more painful experiences. This kind of spiritual housekeeping is my key to lasting freedom. By releasing blame and regret over and over again if necessary, I am ensuring that I will not be bound by the past and limited by an outworn image of myself. Life is dynamic and so am I. My growth is dependent upon my forward movement, and I commit to embracing the freedom that comes from leaving the past behind. With gratitude, I bless the person I was. With faith, I reach unencumbered for the person I am becoming. You were called to freedom, brothers and sisters. That's from Galatians. And to me, that was the perfect exclamation point for my talk today. And that's all these turning points are. You know, I'm going to let go of that past, this aging body off. No. I'm going to my unencumbered future self. And I don't know what that's going to look like. But you know, it's really up to me. It's really up to me whether I make this moment, this hour, this day a big turning point in my life, or do I just simply choose this moment to be open to the possibility it presents? I have the opportunity to choose something different. And the choice is always up to me. And as always, I always get exactly what I deserve. We always get exactly what we deserve. And that's the way it really is. Thank you. Well, let's go ahead and say our prayer of protection together. And we're going to say it the call and respond time. I think I've got this up here. So, the light of God surrounds me.
I am the light.
The love of God enfolds me.
I am love.
The power of God protects me.
I am the power.
The presence of God watches over me.
I am presence.
Wherever I am, God is,
And all
is well. Well, I've got the peace song lyrics up there. If we want to do an acapella, we can do that. Does anybody want to lead us in the song? So.